Hey guys, doing another What's Next. This is on two-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. He's the current unified champ. Joshua is my number 2 heavyweight in the world right now. We know Joshua is making a mandatory defense of his title, of his unified titles, against IBF mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev next. That fight is for sure going to happen. They're talking late July, late August. And it should go down. He wants to fight in late August to get 2 fights in, at least by late August. So he would rather fight in July, obviously, and then fight again in December. But at the very least, he wants to get that fight with Pulev in by late August so he can fight again in December. Now, this What's Next is going to be based on what he's going to do after his projected 2 mandatory title defenses. He has Kubrat Pulev first, and then he has to face off against, if he wants to hold on to all 3 belts, he's got to face off against Oleksandr Usyk, who's the WBO number 1 contender. He's the former undisputed cruiserweight champ, and he's currently the WBO's number 1 ranked contender. So he's going to have to fight 2 fights before he can think about anything else. So, in my opinion, if he wants to give up a belt to go after a bigger fight, then that's also possible, but I honestly think he doesn't want to do that. I think he's going to face Usyk after Pulev. I think he's going to destroy Pulev. And then, honestly, I do believe he beats Oleksandr Usyk. I think Usyk stands a chance. He's a good boxer, but Joshua's a big heavyweight. He's still, in his prime, in my opinion, and he can definitely hit hard. And I just don't think Usyk is cut out for that. So we'll see, though. But I do believe Joshua is going to, when the smoke clears, after those 2 title defenses, he will still be the unified champion. So after that, which it would probably be the middle of next year, what's next, or second half of next year, what's next for Anthony Joshua by that point? We start with number 1 undefeated WBC champion Tyson Fury, probably the most possible fight out there, likely fight to happen if, when the smoke clears, these 2 guys still hold all the belts. Fury has the WBC title. Joshua has the other 3. If Joshua goes and beats Pulev and Usyk, Fury has the 3rd fight set up with Deontay Wilder. That's happening for sure. They're going at it next. Fury's the favorite going into that fight. If Fury beats him again, then Fury likely has a mandatory due against interim champion Dillian Whyte. I think he beats Dillian Whyte. So if he walks out of that, he's the favorite going into both, and Joshua, the favorite going into both his fights. These 2 guys wouldn't have any mandatories due. They're both from the United Kingdom. They're both huge, and it's a huge fight to make. I absolutely think by the middle of next year, a year from now, we're going to be setting up for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury for the undisputed heavyweight title. That is huge, and I do think it's going to happen, and it's very likely to happen. So just stay tuned on that, because that looks very likely for the middle of next year. Now, to the second half in that area. Now, Joshua's number 2. Number 3, Deontay Wilder. Absolutely, this could happen. If Wilder upsets Fury in the 3rd fight, which definitely possible, he's still got that one-punch power, and he's knocked Fury down before. He beats him in the 3rd fight, he would have to go through Dillian Whyte, which I think he beats Dillian Whyte, and then boom, Anthony Joshua and him could be the main attraction middle or second half of next year. Absolutely think that fight can happen, and they would work together. So definitely think that fight's possible. Number 4 is a showdown with Andy Ruiz Jr., a 3rd fight. Depends on where Ruiz is. If he can't work out a deal with Fury or Wilder, whoever the WBC champion is, and Andy Ruiz has won multiple fights, which by that point it would be, because Ruiz is trying to come back, get a tune-up bout, and then face Luis Ortiz. If he beats Ortiz, then man, he's right back in the mix, and why not take him on a 3rd time if you can't fight for the undisputed title? So definitely think Andy Ruiz by this point next year is possible if Ruiz continues to win and beats Luis Ortiz. Number 5, Luis Ortiz. I don't think he would go after Ortiz. Ortiz is with the PBC. He's high risk, low reward. Even if he comes out of things with the world title, I just think he's looking at other options, and I don't think he would take on Luis Ortiz. Number 6 is Alexander Usyk. If he beats him in their first fight, would he fight him again? If the fight's close enough and somewhat controversial, maybe. If Usyk upsets him, there's probably going to be a rematch clause in a contract, so yeah, I think definitely. But if he beats Usyk and it's close and he can't get the undisputed title fight against Fury or Wilder, then yeah, I think this fight's definitely possible right here to happen again. They're both with Matchroom. They're both decent-sized names. Makes sense. Number 7, interim champion Dillian Whyte. If Whyte beats Alexander Povetkin, which he's the favorite going into that, and then he were to upset Fury or Wilder, there probably is going to be a rematch clause with the mandatory fight between Fury and Wilder. Probably a rematch clause. So I don't think he faces Anthony Joshua in a rematch by middle of next year or second half, because he's going to have to pull off a big upset over Fury or Wilder, the winner of that, and then I think he would have to face them in a rematch, unless he brutally knocked them out and there would be called for a rematch, and then maybe him and Joshua is possible. So yeah, kind of on the outside. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is possible. Number 8 is a rematch with Joseph Parker, the former champ. I don't see this one. I like Parker, but Joshua struggled with him. Got a kind of workmanlike, ugly decision. I don't think it's a fight he would need to take, so I don't think it's going to happen. He's number 8. Now in the 3-way tie for 9th. He's fighting Pulev next. Could he face him again by next year? Highly doubt it. If Pulev beats him, maybe they would fight, but not middle of next year. And I don't think Pulev's going to beat him, so I don't see it. Michael Hunter, outside chance because Hunter's with the Matchroom, but I don't see it. And then finally, the last guy tied for 10th, a rematch with Alexander Povetkin. Another one, I don't see it because Povetkin is with he's with Matchroom, so it's a makeable fight. But I see it if Povetkin can pull a couple big upsets out. He would have to beat 2 guys. Povetkin would. He would have to beat Dillian Whyte, which definitely is possible. He's fighting him for the interim title next. And then he would have to upset Wilder or Fury, the winner of that, because that's a mandatory fight. And I just don't think he can do both. One is possible, but I don't think he can pull off both. I wouldn't completely rule it out. I think he would stand a chance against Wilder or Fury. I just think those are both bad matchups for him. He's an older fighter, and he gets hit. And I just don't see him unless he scores a one-punch knockout win against whoever wins that fight, their third fight. That's the only way I could see Povetkin winning out and becoming the new WBC champion. And then a rematch between him and Joshua maybe could happen. But then again, we're talking that there's no rematch clause in the contract if he were to face Wilder and Fury, the winner of Wilder and Fury. So just a lot of things would have to go Povetkin's way in order for him and Joshua next year to be possible, and I don't see it. So that's it. That's my what's next that's the top 10 versus Anthony Joshua by the middle of next year. Do I believe he's going to make it to the middle of next year as champion? Absolutely. He'll still be the unified champ. I think the fight that will be pushed for and will get made is him and Tyson Fury. I absolutely think if Tyson Fury makes it out, that will happen. Second choice would be Deontay Wilder. And maybe Wilder, it would be a hard fight to make, but I think by that point, they both would have mandatories done with. And I think they would definitely be desperate to make this fight for the undisputed title. So I think that's very possible as well. Other than that, outside chances are a third fight with Andy Ruiz, a rematch with Alexander Usyk if their fight is close. Other than that, maybe Dillian Whyte, but yeah, we'd have to just very long shots after that. But definitely think Joshua and Tyson Fury can happen by the second half of next year for the undisputed heavyweight title. So that's a what's next on Anthony Joshua, my number 2 heavyweight in the world right now and unified champ. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.